Hi, and welcome back to the Mortgage Broker broadcast. My guest this week is Joanne Varey. Joanne has spent over 20 years in financial services, mainly in the sort of banking, building society environment. Started out in the counter, worked her way up to being a branch manager, and then a couple of years ago, she faced redundancy. So I wanted to get into Joanne's head, talking about how she felt at the time, why she went self-employed as a mortgage broker, reflecting on the challenges she faced, what the first 6 months was like, and now she's sort of 2 years in, how she finding the role after taking the step and being brave just over 2 years ago. So yeah, let's get Joanne onto the podcast. So welcome to the podcast, Joanne. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. And thanks for finally agreeing to come onto the Mortgage Broker broadcast. You've been on the other podcast before, the Mortgages Money and More one, but finally got you onto the Mortgage Broker broadcast. So thanks for finally accepting the invite. And it's just going to be good because obviously I know you a little bit from being part of the firm, part of CS Mortgage Solutions Financial Group, but it's going to be great to our conversations are always entertaining, Joanne. So you never fail me on that point of view. So I'm hoping that the podcast is just going to be just as entertaining. But it's going to be good to get to know like your background, what you did, why you did it, how self-employed's been. And I'm not going to do anything spoilers at this point, and just talk about how you find out the challenges and stuff like that. So yeah. So thanks very much for coming onto the podcast. So first of all, for those people that don't know you, do you want to just give us a brief background into your history before you went self-employed as a broker?
Yeah. I've always worked, well, for the last 20 years, I've worked in the finance industry. I worked at the Yorkshire Building Society. I started off at Blackburn Branch
Right.
on the counter, and then I worked my way up and I ended up a branch manager I did my mortgage, CMAPs and everything, and became a mortgage advisor there. Then I went to Windermere branch as a manager, and then I ended up at Lancaster branch as a manager. And then
Right.
I took my redundancy. Well, it was probably about 2.5 years ago now. And it gave me the opportunity to do what I've always loved, mortgages
Right.
with you.
That,
Yeah.
that was a whistle stop tour. I was expecting a little bit more, but that's fine, John. Like there's a whistle stop tour of so Yorkshire before. Was you always sort of like Cumbria, Lancaster based, kind of that part of northern Lancashire kind of area?
Yeah, I've always been the Lancashire area, yeah, in the Lancashire team, yeah. And I really enjoyed my time there, yeah. But obviously, it comes to a point where you've been there for so long. So I was glad with what happened, but I always enjoyed working in the finance industry, and I loved doing mortgages there. That were like my favourite bit. But then
Right.
when we become managers, they kind of like took that off us because it were better to just manage the team.
Right. I was thinking like when you sort of said about how long you've been in financial services, I was not so much thinking of how has Joanne managed like how has Joanne survived in financial services for the last 20 odd years. I was thinking more of how has financial services survived with Joanne being in it for the last 20 something years.
Well, I think they enjoyed me being there. I hope they did.
Yeah.
We always had some laughs.
You always talk about the time working at the Yorkshire with a smile on your face, Joanne. So that's the main thing. And you have got
Yeah,
quite a few stories to tell of experiences in the banking, building society environment kind of thing. So which I think there always is. With people who have been in that environment will
yeah,
always have stories to tell.
yeah. It was great working with like the teams. They were all really good people there, and it was fun. Yeah, yeah,
So 18 so years at the Yorkshire, is that about right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's so
15 years of it,
18.
yeah.
So was sort of faced with redundancy, was that something you were aware of, or was it something that gradually brought in, or was it just a shock? And the reason I'm asking that because obviously I wanted to talk a bit more about how you felt at that time and what your outlook was, kind of thing. So, but was it just like thrown at you one day in terms of redundancy, or were you thinking this is going to something that's going to come along soon?
I did have it in the back of my mind because obviously at that time they were talking about changing some of the branches to agencies. So I always thought that my branch could be one of those branches. And then one day I found out it was. But a lot of the staff there got too paid over, so they kept the jobs. but because of my position as a branch manager, they didn't need a manager there because they already had a manager in the agency. So I got offered redundancy, and I was glad in a way because I'd been there for so long, and I wanted a change, to be honest with you, and I just wanted to do something like mortgages again. And I thought, well, having redundancy money would give me the opportunity to be able to do that.
Definitely. So I think that's the change. 'Cause obviously, being a manager, you were managing people and in charge of a
Yeah.
branch, in charge of a team. So going from managing people and managing a team to then being responsible for yourself is a bit of a change, really, isn't it? How did you feel at that time?
Well, managing a team, yeah, it's fun being part of a team, but I would never say I was really a manager. I'm a more of a people's person. So I was more like one of my team, like, yeah, I were never really wanted to be a manager as such, really. I enjoy dealing with people, but not like I enjoy dealing with customers, and I enjoyed like doing the mortgage side, and I enjoyed being in the team, but I wouldn't say I was like a manager really. I was like one
Yeah,
of my team members.
yeah, I am struggling. Like when I sort of picture, fair, I was a bank manager back in the past, and like quite a few years ago. And I probably started about similar sort of time with you with the cooperative bank. I think probably then when you went to the Yorkshire Building Society, like that
Yeah,
2001, I think my sort of time started with them. But then I never saw I never do now, but you just never see yourself as a manager kind of thing. You're just part of the
mm,
team that's
yeah,
steering the ship or has the responsibility upwards, but then not so much the responsibility downwards. And downwards, I mean that in total
mm,
respective way. I'm not saying down, but like I always sort of felt that I was always the guard. Whenever I've managed people, when
yeah,
it was in the bank, it was like this. You had things that came down, and I get in a state agency, the thing that came down the line, the decisions were made higher up, and like we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I always sort of felt like I was like the guard of sheltering all the people in the branch and all the people that
yeah,
work with in terms of it, sort of saying like it's yeah. So and then you'd sort of rather than just deliver the same message, I always felt that I filtered it kind of thing. And I think you always gain respect from people
yeah.
within the branch, within the team for doing that. So it's interesting to hear that you felt that exactly the same way.
Yeah, I felt like I had to shield them, and I was always like, I don't know, I always felt like if you didn't have a good team, yeah, then you wouldn't be a good manager. It were all how good your team were. That's how I always used to think of it. So I used to try and look after my team, really.
Yeah. No, 110% agree with you, John.
Yeah,
I think it's all about your team. If you haven't got a good team, if you've not got buy-in from your team,
no,
if they don't respect, if there's not that mutual respect, if you expect them to respect you, but then you don't respect your team, you're not
yeah,
going to go very far from a management point of view because you're just
no,
always going to be churning staff. The staff aren't going to be loyal to you. They're not going to. And I always sort of found that when when you manage the team the right way and you're right with the people and not just like sort of once a month or every week, like every day in day out, you treat them the right way. When you needed something back, you always judged how well you respected you were as a manager by how your response was for your team. So if you said to them, "Oh, come on, folks, we need this, or we need to get this
yeah,
done, or we need to get this over the line," then they just do it with no questions asked. And I think that gives you the buy. And I'm guessing that your team were the same for you at the Yorkshire.
yeah. And we always liked to have fun. My
Yeah.
branch was always fun.
Yeah, we won't talk about it's funny before we start recording the podcast of talking about your team outing to Alton Towers and how you broke your arm. So we're not going to pick that up on the podcast. Don't
Keep
worry
on
about
your name.
I think we could do a whole podcast of outbursts of and stories of Joanne's time at Yorkshire Building Society, but we might not be able to release that one. Be able to record it, but
No,
probably
you wouldn't be able
release
to release it.
it. So you're back. So taking you back like a couple of years, you've then faced redundancy. You're thinking to yourself, right, I'm going to do something I want to do. You were pleased at that time. So why did you want to be a mortgage broker?
Because I enjoyed helping people, yeah. And I always felt like when you did mortgages, especially for first time buyers, it was such an exciting time to be with someone because you were helping them get on the property ladder. And also remortgages and anything like that, you was helping people maybe to save money. And they always seemed really excited. It was fun. And I don't know, I just liked interacting with the customers and doing that side. And I thought to myself, well, now I've got this redundancy money, it gives me a bit of leeway where I can go self employed and try it. And I thought, and if
Right.
it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But it did.
We'll come on to that bit. The spoiler alert, they did work out, but
Yeah.
we'll. But just why did you want to go? What was it about self-employed rather than being employed? Because you've been employed for such a long time.
Yeah.
Why were you looking at self-employed?
Because I liked to manage my own time. Yeah. That's that really the best way to put it. Manage my own time, be my own manager, and do what I want at my time. Yeah. And now I'm getting that little bit older. Yeah. I wanted to be able to have some, if I wanted to work in the evenings or I want to work at weekends and have some free time during the day and do my own thing and just manage my own time.
So like work-life balance is quite
Yeah, exactly.
important.
Yeah, rather than going on that 9 to 5, going into the office, having to be there at certain times. Yeah, I didn't want to do that again.
How did you find that time? Because I struggled with being employed for such a long time, and like you said, the 9 to 5 kind of environment that you're in. How did you find that time of going from that structured employed, being told where to be, what time to be there kind of thing? How did you find that going self-employed with no real structure and you've got total freedom now?
Um, at first, I found it hard to manage my time. I had to be strict, and I felt like I had to sit at my desk every day, 9 to 5. And then I thought, what am I doing? So I ended up at the beginning working all day, and then some nights, and then weekends. And I thought to myself, this is not what I did it for. So it was a bit like weird trying to get into the flow of things. But then I think you sometimes then I just think to myself, if I've got evening appointments, I'll take some time out during the day. Yeah, if I want to work weekends, I work weekends. If I've got something on, I don't. So it just gives me more freedom to manage my own time, which
Right.
is something that's really good.
I think like you said, it can be difficult that when you're first starting out, that you were sort of thinking, I'm doing the 9 to 5, but then I'm also doing
Yeah,
evenings and weekends because that's when the clients are looking for appointments and looking for contacts and things like that. So you end up working full on. And then I don't know, I think it took me about 6 months to then realize the bit of a light bulb moment thinking,
yeah,
did this for a reason. Like there was a reason why I did this in
yeah,
terms of the work-life balance kind of thing. So the guilt soon goes of not sat in front of your desk. And don't get me wrong, I
yeah,
know there's days where you are sat in your desk early and you're doing what you need to do. And like you say, you've been working this weekend, you've got few leads coming over the weekend, you've got people offering on
yeah,
houses, getting offer accepted, then you can work at that. But then you know that you can take you're managing your time accordingly. So you're thinking, well, I can get out with Jasper and I can Jasper's just clear we get class Jasper is your dog, by the way.
my
So I
dog,
just want to clarify there.
yeah,
It's not
yeah,
some sort of like thing on the side you've got going on with somebody called Jasper, kind of thing.
yeah.
So
The office dog. Yeah, he's my new buddy now, who I talk to all the day.
poor Jasper.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Boo Jasper.
And that's the thing with it. It's like so you can manage it. So Jasper's obviously benefiting because you're sort of seeing him more, and you've got that time
Yeah,
where you're thinking, actually, I can go out. I can take Jasper out for an hour or two, and not feel that guilt of I'm not sat in front of my desk because you know that you're going to be
yeah,
sat in front of your desk later, kind of thing. And I think that's to say, like,
yeah,
it's how you can work it best for you. It's like for me, like, it never was when I was employed. I'm a morning person, definitely. So I like to be at
yeah,
my desk first in the morning, feel as though I'm achieving stuff. But then by sort of like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, my head's done. I'll still be working, but then that's the time for me thinking, go out for the dog for an hour or like go for a run, do so like so you've got you I think the beauty of being self-employed, the positives, and we'll talk about the negatives, but the positives are that you can work to your best times as well. So I'm like sat here this morning thinking, well, 7 o'clock, and I'm more constructive at that time. Whereas like later in the day is not something I'm more constructive kind of thing. So you're enjoying self-employed so far. You've now got that structure in place. How long have you been self-employed for, John?
I think it was 2019 July. I left Yorkshire, and then I started doing this about October, November. Went on my course to Swindon, I think it were, and then started doing it properly probably from the January
Right.
2020. So 2.5 years now.
Feels like a lot longer than 2.5 years. I don't know about you.
I know it does, doesn't it?
I'll take that as a positive or a negative. I don't know either way. So like you've got to, like, obviously coming from an employed role where you will not have any client bank as such, and this is something that people think, oh, I need to go self-employed, I need to have a client bank, which really I don't think you don't ever have a client bank if you're an employed broker anyway. But
No.
so you've not got no client bank. You're thinking to yourself, so what was like the first 6 months like? How did you feel?
The first 6 months, well, I felt fine. I've never, I've always thought I'm not going to panic. Whatever will be, will be. And then obviously got leads from yourself, and then I've picked up like a few estate agents that I speak to now. And then you get like self gens. Set up my Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And then I get leads from them and family and friends and people I know and things like that. So yeah, you start picking up leads, and then eventually you end up like people pass people on from who you spoke to. Someone will ring you up and say, "Oh, you did a mortgage for such body. They said you were really good. Will you help me?" And so you tend to find there's always something happening every single week. You all of a sudden you think, "Oh, I've nothing on next week," and then before you know it, your diary's full. So yeah, good.
But it's good, like, and like when you're talking about your referrals, that's the big thing. Is they're the ones where they say
Yeah.
you get the phone calls, you get the messages thinking, "Oh, you did a great job with these," and that it goes back to you just deliver a great service for your clients every single time, Joanne, and you do treat them as human beings. You do treat them as people. You feel the feedback I've had is like they feel that you're part of the family, and actually they can talk to you about everything, which is sometimes not a good thing, but is a good thing.
Know
But
everything.
yeah, but like the thing, but that's how you've sort of built your business up. You've not really just worried about one particular thing of like, well, it's like lead from here, or you are like, well, and we'll talk about your social media stuff as well in a bit, but you've built your business around you having those sort of delivering that great service to your client and they're feeling part of what you're trying to achieve for them really, and how you are with them. Because I'm guessing that an experience, if I was your client, the experience is pretty similar to what it was as a colleague.
Yeah. Yeah, treat everyone the same, yeah. Yeah. Like to like to be friendly, like to have fun, like them. Well, I adapt my way that I am with whoever I speak to really. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I tend to do it, yeah. But it's good that you can get leads from different channels, like so leads from yourself, picking up the phone. Yeah, I used to get really excited when one pinged through on my email and my text. Grab it quick. I've got so many seconds to do it. That's quite exciting. I like that. Yeah,
All about the service for the client, John. It's all about speed of service for the client.
exactly. Yeah, and then ring them up straight away. Yeah, and then yeah. So I liked to do things like that. Yeah, it's good because you've got different channels that they're coming through.
I think that's it. You just can't rely on. So you've got your social media,
Yeah.
obviously business leads coming through, social media referrals are a big thing for you because that's where like your goal is. Once you've been doing this for a
Mm.
few years, is then you gain your referrals, which is they're your quick wins. They're the ones that are good. They're bought into already, so you don't need to worry
Mm.
about picking up the phone and getting buy-in to you and explain about what you do and how you work. And you will do it a little bit, but it's not a sell anyway, but it's not as a big because they've already referred to you and sort of said, right, ring Joanne, she'll really help you out. And they put I don't know, I always found when I got a referral, it put a smile on my face because that was like the best feedback, really.
Yeah, it's good when you get like reviews. That's really good feeling, and they put really nice reviews about you. And that's what I put a lot on my social media. I like to put them on my social media. Yeah, so it is really good when they've bought into you and they like you.
So in terms of your social media, was social media always part of the plan, or is it something you've just started to do, or like is it, like you say, it's just, I'm just keen to understand, like, when did you think I need to start being active on the various social media platforms?
Well, I realised, if I want to like build, me up as a person and put me on social media, I'd need to have my own website. So I started doing that after being here a few months. I did my LinkedIn straight away, but and I did a Facebook page and an Instagram page, but I didn't really post as much at the beginning because I'm not really a social media person personally. I never post pictures of me or my family or what I do, even though I am quite an outgoing person. I just don't really
Yes.
use
I'm
social
going to
media
say
that way.
you are, I think, for clarity,
Yeah.
you are a very social person. It's just
Yeah.
the other word as well. It's not media. So you are a very social person.
Yeah, but I just don't put myself out there on the social media side of it personally. So I found that difficult. But I have a daughter who is good on social media and she helps me. So she does my posts for me and my reviews for me. And she helps me out doing the social media side of things, which is really good.
Which does help. I'm guessing having your daughter doing your social media,
Mm.
and demanding as you are, you'd be cracking the whip with her, going, right, where's my social media post? Why have you not done that?
Oh yeah, well we have a bit of to-dos with that because she's a bit laid back and then she doesn't post for me for about 2 weeks and then I have an argument with her. So really sometimes it's not a good thing. And I keep saying, just show me what to do and then I can do it myself. Because I'm not good at the technology side of things.
Right.
She is, you see. So I have
I
to
know,
wait sometimes.
but that's the thing. It's just playing to your own strengths, and you know that that's not something you're good at. So your time's better spent. Use Sophie. And not everybody's got Sophie, who's Joanne's daughter, by the way. So not everybody's got a Sophie, but people, there are people out there that part of the firm and outside of the firm that will pay for somebody to do the social media because it just
Yeah,
works for them to be smarter about it. Helps them generate leads,
yeah,
helps them have a work-life balance or not to worry about something like that. And it's just then, like I say, you're playing to your strengths. So you're just using Sophie because then you would rather be sat
mm,
with a client talking about how you can help them find the new home, negotiate on the new home, and do all the things that you do, rather than sat there thinking, well, what I'm going to post on social media this week.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, obviously, yeah, there's loads of people out there who can do that kind of job and you can pay for that. But I thought I had Sophie, so I wouldn't need to, but she does keep saying that if she pay, she'd do it more regularly if I paid her. And eventually, one day, Sophie, I might pay you.
Exactly, exactly. Well, like, yeah, I don't think you're. Yeah, I think if you're looking to pay Sophie, then
Yeah,
yeah, I'm thinking that she'll probably full-time role. She could actually have a full-time role of doing social media full stop. But I'm sure she'll
yeah,
prefer to be doing what she's doing right now in terms of her own stuff. So when we look at the part that I said just over 2 years, and the point my questioning, John, was really, we've talked a lot of positive stuff about getting referrals, building your brand, you're getting your remortgage clients coming back now because you've been doing it for a few years, and this is
yeah.
all sort of good. What's sort of like been the biggest challenge or challenges of going self-employed?
The challenges, I would say, is sometimes, yeah, you might have a week where you don't get any business and you start thinking to yourself, oh, I need to make sure I have business. But I always just think to myself, don't panic about things, yeah, because all of a sudden, like this weekend, I had 3 phone calls saying I've had 3 offers accepted. So these things happen. All of a sudden, you go from zero to fine again. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like never panic about things. But that's the thing, is like trying to keep you calm because it's not like when you're employed where you get paid every month. You've got
Yeah.
to So you've got to think to yourself, this is what I need to get every month, yeah, and I'll be happy at that. So I set myself like targets in my head of how many applications I'd like to get, and then and what's coming in my pipeline and what's going out my pipeline, and filling my pipeline up.
And that's it. It is that. I think you can. You're right. You can panic, and you're
Mm,
thinking, oh, like you can think, especially when you're self-employed. Like you say, when you're employed, you turn up, you put your shift in. You know that at the
yeah.
end of every month, something happens in your bank account, and then you can pay your mortgage, pay your bills, and go out a little bit. Whereas self-employed, you can't manage that side of the aspect
Mm,
of it. But what you can manage, like you said, is you're managing your pipeline,
yeah.
making sure new business is going in, making sure your
Mm,
pipeline's coming out, because that's the I think that's the thing is like if you once you build your pipeline up, and we talk a lot about your pipeline, we look at that and think actually this is what incomes your pipeline should generate over the next 3 months,
yeah.
which then makes you feel gives you a bit of comfort, doesn't it? Then you can just you're
Mm,
not worrying about your income side of things. You're worrying about filling the pipeline up, and you're worrying about your
yeah.
referrals and your leads and stuff like
And
that.
then,
So I think
yeah.
that's the easiest thing because you can worry about everything, can't you? Like I know what it's like. You can just worry
Yeah, you
about
can do, yeah.
everything.
So you just try, it's just trying not to worry. And I just keep a diary, and I have like what people I've been speaking to, keeping in contact with people, and just keeping a diary of every week what I'm doing, what I need to do differently, and then just like mixing it up a bit and thinking what I need to concentrate on.
Do you have like a planner for that, Joanne? Have you got like something that you manage, how you manage your
Yeah.
clients and manage your time? Yeah.
Yeah, I have a prospect book where people I've spoke to, and then I have one where when I can go to them and things like that. Yeah, and I
Right.
have like a diary of what I've got for the week ahead and what I've got for the week, going forward and the month. And I do like training, a lot of training as well online to keep my knowledge up.
Right.
Yeah. Speaking to BDMs, yeah, getting friendly with BDMs. You need to be friendly with the BDMs. And then you can ring up if you've got a tricky case and things like that.
Absolutely. I think that's it. Like sometimes brokers, especially that are busy, forget the relationship with the BDMs actually is a relationship, and you've got to manage that relationship accordingly because
Yeah.
when you need them to pick up the phone. Then yeah, if you've not managed that relationship and given the BDM time, then you've got to
Mm.
it's a more difficult conversation to have when you need them kind of things. So it is good about managing that sort of thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
you manage your prospects. You are even though there is technology and there is other ways of doing this. You are not so much. I want old school sound disrespectful, but you're like me. I like writing everything down. I've got a
Yeah.
planner, like my book.
Planner,
Get
books.
me
Yeah, I've got
reflect.
all sorts of different little things all around that help me. I've also got spreadsheets. I have spreadsheets that I go on.
Yeah, you do. But then with your planner, I just find it's better than and easier to reflect, and I think that's something that we talk about. Like I do is look at every single day what I've done and what I've achieved, and then have
Yeah,
a
that's what I
weekly
do.
thing is then like looking at what happened like reviewing the week, look at what's gone well, what's not gone so well, and what I can do to
Mm,
improve that next week. And I just find that writing it down works for me. Yeah, there's technology to do that, but I just find that having a book and a planner
mm,
and that sort of thing, it just helps you. It forces you to reflect. I think that's the thing, which is sometimes difficult to do.
mm,
So, fine, John. We've like gone on for sort of 28 minutes or so. So I just wanted to really I'm understanding the good side of things. I'm understanding that the
mm,
benefits and the work life balance and that sort of thing. And it kind of been easier for you going dealing with that time of structuring your week, structuring your days, what the first 6 months look like, what 2 years look like. But in terms of like, so we understand your challenges. Anything you've learned about yourself or anything you've learned as you've sort of been a self-employed broker?
well, I wouldn't say, yeah, I've just learned to manage my time better, really. That's what
Right.
I needed to do, yeah. And I've got more freedom now to do what I want when I want and work around things. Um, so yeah, really just and learned to be probably more of a calmer person. Not calmer, but like, not worry as much. I don't worry now.
Right, okay.
I never worry like I used to.
Right, right,
Yeah.
fine. No, that like I said, I think calm, I won't class you as calm,
No,
Joanne, I
I'm not
would never.
calm. No, no,
No.
I'm erratic.
In
Very
the
erratic.
nicest possible way. Yeah, I know you don't mean that in a like, yeah,
No,
but
no, 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 no.
I think that's the
Yeah,
thing is,
very
yeah,
calm.
you're right. Once you've been doing it a few years, like it's the first 6 months that are difficult and
Yeah, they're
transition
the
and learning
hardest
role.
part, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
yeah,
definitely the
definitely.
hardest time, yeah. And then
Whereas
after that, you just get used to things and you adapt. You get used to things and you adapt. That's the way. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. I think that's it. Like you understand that's going to happen. So 2 years in, you've adapted. You've got a decent pipeline now. You know you've got a structure to your week and structure your day. You've got the work-life balance. So it's
Yeah.
easy for you to look back and go, yeah, that it's like very positive and great. And it's a difficult thing sometimes. Like it was for you at the time. It's sort of it can be a difficult decision thinking going self-employed. Is it going to work? Is it not? But like I say, in hindsight, for you looking back, like I said, karma is not a word I would use whatsoever.
No.
However, you don't worry as much and you're not as panic situation as much now as you do because, like you say, things will because you're putting the shift in and what you've done
Yeah.
and the way like those 3 referrals over the weekend have only happened because of what you've done
Mm.
over the last 6 months, 2 years kind of thing. So it's just
Yeah.
yeah, you just got to keep doing what you're doing. So
Yeah.
Brill, Joanne, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
Hopefully,
you.
what wasn't as bad as what you thought it was going to be.
No, no, I did feel a bit out my comfort zone coming on here. But no, I
Good,
feel all right now, actually. It's just like chatting to you, really, like I normally
good,
do. Yeah.
good. That's the thing. Like, it's not the idea is just for people to get to know the real you. When I still think you've held back and been a bit reserved, so thank you for that. You've not gone the full
No, I've not
Joey
got
hog with everything.
the full Joey way yet. No, no, maybe next time.
Yeah, we'll get
Maybe
you
next
back on
time.
for the full Joey hog, full
Yeah,
Joey way. So, but
full Joey
John,
way.
yeah, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing. It's good for people to listen. People want to listen to people who have experienced it and been brave, and particularly who is like 2 years into the journey and 2 years
Yeah,
into this and reflects on that. So, thank you so much.
yeah. Anybody out there, take the step, try it. You won't know until you've done it.
And we'll end on that. Joey,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Thank you. See you later.